Hi guys, Paranormal Video Gamer here, and today I'm going to be doing a walkthrough of Champions of Norrath, one of my all-time favorite games. For those of you who do not know, I won't talk during the story, but it's one of my favorite games because it's a mix between Diablo and Skyrim, and it's a fantastic game.
Champions of Norrath, thank you for answering my call in what may be our darkest hour. The unthinkable has happened. Orcs and goblins, once mortal enemies, have now become allies and attacked our beloved home in Fadewar. Even as we speak, they move through Feydark Forest unopposed. They have pillaged our home, Kelethin, and put our loved ones to the sword. Their tracks leave scars upon the land that may never be healed. Yet, my friends, I fear that this is only the beginning. If Feydark falls, then so falls Fadewar, and then these beasts will have all of Norrath by the throat. This is not a battle we are fighting. It is a war, and it is one we must win. Many brave fighters have fallen, and many more are dying in the forests below. To win this war, I need more than soldiers with a will to fight. I need heroes, men and women of strength and bravery, who can turn aside this tide of hate that threatens our kingdom and all of Norrath. Who amongst you will take up the sword, the staff, the hammer, and drive this scourge from our land? If there be any who would lay down their life for the glory of Fadewar, for the defense of Norrath, then speak now.
Alright, so this part, this is actually the character creation screen, where you get to actually select who you want to be. I chose Warrior because of the fact that it's good hand-to-hand fighting. I may do other characters eventually, and there's not a lot of customization. You have to understand this game came out a long time ago, long before Skyrim, and it's a fantastic game on PlayStation 2. Not too many people know that the development team, which was Snowbind Entertainment, or Snowbind Studios, they were very limited, and they had a very limited crew working on this. And when they were working on this, it was kind of like pretty much hush-hush within the company, because I was told, and I've seen many interviews where they did not think that this game was going to be very popular. A lot of people thought that the genre of RPGs besides Final Fantasy was slowly dying. There was a lot of games that came out that year from Japan that were RPGs that pretty much were trying to dominate the market. And this does have a lot of RPG elements, but it also has a lot of hack and slash elements. And you'll see from the gameplay, it's pretty awesome.
Ah, a welcome sight indeed. My heart rejoices. If nothing else, I am wealthy in friends. But I warn you, the road ahead will not be an easy one. You may think the enemy nothing more than a rabble of ill-disciplined orcs and goblins. Do not be deceived. These beasts are treacherous, and they are led by an orc who is bigger, stronger, and more cunning than any I have ever met. His presence alone whips these orcs and goblins into the army that cuts its way towards us even now.
You can definitely tell how old this game is, just from the lip syncing movement from the character not really matching up with the majority of the character.
Great Feydark Forest, discover who this orc chieftain is, what his plans are, and if possible, defeat him. You will need
but at least it gives you subtitles,
and
so if I am talking, battle. At least you can read
Visit our shopkeeper,
over my particular
I have instructed
commentary.
him to provide you with whatever you need for a fair price.
Okay, so now that the game's going to be loading, um, this is one of my favorite games for a reason. Some of the spells in the game, some of the things that you can do, especially with Dark Elf. My favorite character to actually build for is a
And
Dark
not an
Elf.
ale-hole in
And
sight.
it's multiple players, so I can get 4 people. And one of these days, I'm going to try to get like 3 other YouTubers to join me to play this one
We'll
night.
need supply.
And we're going to live stream this because it is so much fun to get 4 people in a room and talk and really, you know, have a lot of fun with everybody. It is a lot of fun to play. I got to figure out the video thing because I can't seem to make it larger, and I got to figure out how to make it larger on the PlayStation 2 video. But yeah, I mean the Hypaw is recording it at around the 720 mark. But unfortunately, because it's an older game, they didn't have 720 back then. Most of the games were probably 380p or 360p and 480p. So,
no one is permitted to
it's one of those situations where I may not be able to make it bigger, and I apologize for that. But anyway, to continue with the commentary, this game, when it came out, I remember it coming out, and I was completely surprised by its announcement of it being an RPG hack and slash type of game. I was kind of surprised because Diablo had come out, and I think Diablo 2 had come out at that time, and I was very surprised that a company would take the risk, especially with Diablo's popularity, of coming out with an RPG type of hack and slash game.
So you're
And
off
it's got
to
a lot
slay
of
the raiders,
hack
are
and
you?
slash
Well,
RPG
my hat's off to you.
elements
I
that are
gave
very
up the adventuring
surprising
life
and very
centuries
well
ago to open
done.
this shop.
I actually have the second game in the
Are you
series
willing?
too,
Things will get back
and
to
that one's
normal
just
before
as
too long.
great as the first one. So,
You never know what
and I
might
think
come
you
in
can.
handy
I think
during a
if
battle.
you play the
It's a good
first one, I
idea
think
to
you can
fill your
transfer your
pack.
character over to the second one, if I remember correctly. But anyway, it's a fantastic game, and it still holds up even to this day. I want to get a couple, like I said, I want to get a couple people together and play this game and live stream it. Maybe we could do something for charity or something. I don't know. Maybe we can do like a 10-hour playthrough and see exactly like what we can do. But I mean, this game is fantastic. It has been probably one of the best games that I can remember when this game came out. It literally took over the country at that time by storm. I remember getting a copy of the game, and I still have my original copy, and I posted it on Twitter a while ago. I remember what happened with the outbreak of this game. Someone had told me, it's funny, somebody told me that this is a game that is going to be horrible, and it's going to be so broken because they don't know what they're doing in terms of the studio not knowing what they're doing in terms of an RPG and whatnot. And I remember very vividly people telling me that it's going to be a huge mess. And yeah, that didn't quite work the way it should have. It was really a huge game, and especially being able to play with 3 other of your friends. This was a multiplayer game that was just so much fun that all of you can pick it up and you can play it, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And it still holds up quite well. I went with a hammer because a hammer is a blunt object in the game, and you can actually, there's a thing in there that allows you to actually increase the damage on blunt or sword weapons. And I went with sword initially because I like to balance everything out. I like to, you know, okay, sword here. I'll do maybe 2 swords, and then I'll do, you know, 2 blunt objects, you know, like maces and whatnot. And maces are a lot slower to swing, but they have more power, and swords are a lot quicker to swing, but they have less power. So you have to take some of the pros from one and some of the pros from other to actually have a lot of fun. But this is the gameplay. This is you kicking ass. There's a lot of these creatures, and it's cool because like they barely touch the creatures, so you literally have to get in there and take charge and kick ass. And with 4 people starting this game, it is so much fun going around and you know, especially when one person has a bow and arrow and the other people are, you know, the people that are going hand to hand. What the strategy that I always did was, you know, with the last time I played this with multiple people, and you used to be able to play this online, and unfortunately the server is no longer on online. But you know, I used to play this game, and it was so much fun. It really was, playing with other people and actually talking to them online. And Champions Return to Arms was also a fantastic game that came out, and not too many people probably remember the online services for games, but it's one of these types of games that I absolutely love even to this day. It's definitely a great game if you can find it. Usually you have to pay about $30 for a used copy. I've seen them go as low as $20, and it's totally worth the money because it literally has so many missions and so many spells and a whole bunch of things. And there's a ton of retail. Yeah, if I should talk today. There's a ton of replay value in this game. I mean, it is that massive. But yeah, I remember when this game came out, and you know, one friend said, "There's nothing gonna be like, it's gonna be a horrible game because the company doesn't know what they're doing and stuff like that," and it ended up being a huge success. And I remember going to one of the cons that came to Cleveland, Ohio. There was this one video game con that came in Cleveland. And I went there with a couple people, and they had a poster of the game, and a bunch of people were being very negative, you know. And I basically said, hey, you know, give this game a shot, and I got yelled at by a couple of the guys that were basically heckling the booth that was there with the people in the booth. And I don't know if they were from the studios or if they were just being represented by the studio, but yeah, it was kind of funny actually. I got yelled at a couple times, and I said, well, you know, I'm just trying to be positive here. It looks like it's a lot of fun, you know, and it ended up being, like I said, a very fun game. You know, I mean, for you to experience it is a whole different ball game, and I can't wait to actually do this. Like I said, with the live stream, it'll be so much fun. What I love is an enemy gets killed, and you have to obviously heal. It's just like Diablo with the healing potions. But in the healing process, you have to realize that when you're healing, and here's me doing my, should I try to go over the dead body and see if there's anything on it? And that's when I did. I ended up getting burned. But went to the con and I was talking to the people at the booth about the game and stuff like that, they were very unsure at that time what the game, the finished product was going to be. And the one lady that was there was very nice, very beautiful lady too. She was very nice, and she was very positive about the game, and she was kind of hoping that the game would be a certain way, and this is how you build up your character, by the way. As you can see, there's blunt weapons here, and then there's slashing. That's swords. I put it on swords because I eventually want to get into using swords. But you need to basically level up in order to use certain weapons, which is kind of cool, but at the same time, it's kind of like a curse.
One of my favorite parts about this game is the buying and selling weapons system that was implemented in this game. The reason why it's one of my favorite parts is because there's such a unique balance to every weapon, every armor, every shield. And when you get 4 people going into the huts to go buy equipment and items, you literally have to work together when you have multiple people to share items, because sometimes you'll buy a sword that takes up half your inventory, or an armor that takes up the majority of your inventory, and you don't have any room for potions, especially health potions or mana potions. So you basically have to take those particular portions of other people's inventory space and use them. Basically both of you have to use each other to be able to survive in the game, and that is so much fun. I can't tell you how many times I filled up on armor and weapons and a whole bunch of other stuff, and I could not, for the life of me, um, you know, I could not for the very life of me understand how I could survive without somebody else's help. Playing this on one player, you definitely get a feeling like you should have other people with you there.
That's the all clear. The lift is now ready for operation.
The other cool thing about this game is it's very straight to the point. It doesn't require a lot of thought. It just requires a little bit of strategy when you're doing magic, but it can be overdone and overcome. And this is actually one of the easier games to pick up and play. And it's just so well built. It really is, guys. And that's why I decided to do this video, because I wanted to show you guys another Skyrim type of game. So again, there will be coming a point here where I will not be talking because it is part of the story. And here we go.
Aren't you a little overdressed for a stroll through Feydark Forest? And maybe you haven't heard, but we're fighting orcs today.
Your words are wasted on this one, Eodane. It's but another fool who thinks to be a hero. When will Ithgorius stop sending them to us? They don't come prepared, they don't follow orders, and they don't bathe. They're more trouble than they're worth. Mark my words, we'll end up burying this one right next to the others.
With your charm, Havnal, it's little wonder we don't get more recruits from Feydark's champions. You will have to excuse my friend, but he does have a point. If you're here to do battle with the orcs or goblins, you'll need to better equip yourself. Equip with what? We haven't got any extra provisions. The goblins took everything they could lay their hands on. You might as well go home.
The Heartwood Master would not be pleased to hear his warrior welcomed with such words, Coe.
This knight has traveled a long way to do battle at my father's request, on behalf of our people. Forgive Coel's words. These have been difficult times for us all. I am Elcoe, lieutenant in the Feydark Battalion, and son of Leithcorius. You are welcome here among us, champion. I see my father chose wisely, indeed. You could not have come at a better time. If you wish to arm yourself with better weapons and armor, then it may be that we can aid each other. Beyond the rock grotto are 2 fallen trees which mark the Goblins' Cave. In this cave, you will find the spoils the Goblins plundered when they sacked our home of Caliban. In exchange for spilling Goblin blood, you may also find other things there which could be of great use to you on your mission.
You know, the story is it gets better and better and better as it goes along. At the very beginning, you're kind of like, what's going on, man? And it gets so much better as you're playing the game, and I absolutely love the way that the story progresses. So, a little bit of a microphone adjustment here. But yeah, I love the way the story progresses, and how it starts teaching you right away how to defend yourself, how to fight, and I mean, it does a great job with pacing too. There's a person. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. Oh, boop. Yeah, one thing I learned about this game very early on is that when you play, be careful. There are lots and lots of bombs in the game. Lots and lots of bombs. When you're playing 4 people and you all are standing around a bomb, sometimes you can't get out of the way, and you end up dying very, very quickly. So if you ever decide to play this game with 4 people, I highly recommend running a lot. And by the way, that's another thing. The wizard for the enemies will actually keep bringing that person or the people that you've killed back to life. So what you may want to do is you actually may want to try to prevent that from happening as much as humanly possible. But he will keep doing it and keep doing it, and it gets to the point where it becomes insane. And once you kill him, it is so rewarding to kill a wizard after he's pretty much murdered you the whole time. And yeah, I mean, this game is so much fun, and you can adjust the map here. You can put the map on the right-hand side of the screen for all 4 of you to look at, so you kind of have an idea of where you're going direction-wise. And yeah, in just a couple minutes, I mean, I literally got, $1,000 worth of stuff. And yeah, this is where a lot of the pain comes in, because you're trying to survive as best you can. And sometimes this is where multiple people come in, to a point, because there's another exploding one. But yeah, having multiple people with this game makes this game so much easier, and it's extremely difficult playing this game with just one person. So I highly recommend you get some buddies together and play this game. It's definitely a multiplayer friendly game, and yes, your friends can hurt you too. It kind of reminds me of Gauntlet to a point, where if you hit somebody with an arrow to the knee, they're going to feel it. You can hurt your buddies. I can't tell you how many times I nearly killed somebody. Oh no, yeah. This is where I'm probably going to die. Yeah, running away sometimes works. It is a good strategy. Sometimes it doesn't work very well. Other times it works pretty damn good. Nope. And I'm boned.